Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Nick Marro here with Smitty and Occupy Fantasy, as always, to help you break down tonight's NBA DFS main slate on both DraftKings and FanDuel. As always, appreciate you guys being here, especially on the weekend. We got college hoops going on, UFC's live right now. Great weekend to be a sports fan. Only a four-game slate tonight, though. Should be pretty easy to get through. If you guys have questions, definitely get them into the chat. We should be able to get to everyone. Smitty, we talked a little bit pre-stream, but how you feeling going into this one?
Yeah, seems like a pretty simple slate, and it's kind of spread out to where you could still make your swaps and watch college basketball or MMA, whatever you want in between.
Yeah, man, for sure. My Nets are on right now too. Not that I was eager to watch them today, but yeah, kind of glad they're not on this slate. They've been kind of a pain in the ace. Let's check out chat here real quick. We'll get into the game by game. Let's see. Got a nice full room here, guys. I'm covering. Not always here on the weekend. Definitely appreciate being here with you guys today. Ben Jizzy saying good evening. Unicorn saying good evening as well. Appreciate you guys being here. Harry Finch. Beantown. Gang's all here. All the guys I know from the weekdays. Love to see it. We got Barry. Uh, Landon Oakley saying, let's go Lake Show. Yeah, will LeBron be back tonight? That's a big talking point today for sure. We're both leaning yes, but we'll get to that. Bob Boys saying, let's go bag time for sure. What's good, fellas, from Jose? Another great regular here, Power. Gotta love NCAA. Great lineups getting destroyed. Yeah, the good thing about Massachusetts is we're not allowed to play college DFS, for better or worse, I guess. But definitely kind of wish I was right now. What do we think about Post? We'll get to that one, Finch. But with Curry out, a few minutes for a few of these guys. Maybe he's someone who falls into more. Appreciate you being here, Don. And do we think Joval gets more minutes against Milwaukee? I would hope so. His minutes have been pretty impossible to project. We'll get to all these questions, guys. Keep them coming, especially if we miss something in the game by game breakdown. But let's get into the game by game, Smitty. First game on the slate does lock at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The only game at 7. All these games tonight are kind of on an island. So, again, you can think through your late swaps. But Golden State taking out the Hawks, 232.5 point total. Very healthy. And yeah, no Steph Curry. That's the big piece of news here. As far as other injuries for Golden State, Gary Payton was on the injury report. He is no longer. I actually think he's someone you can maybe mix in his value. But pulling up these guys in the model, wow, lots of ownership. No surprise, though. Butler with the extra usage has been tremendous. It's funny that when he cares about basketball, how good he still is, considering how terrible he was for Miami most of the season. He's going to be chalk. Pod's likely getting the start at point guard. His minutes limit is no longer a thing. We are projecting him for 33. To me, these are the two core plays. I will throw Kuminga into that group as well. I do think he's still on a minutes cap, though, unless we hear something from Kerr. Not that Kerr's the most reliable coach, but we have him for 26 minutes. I think he can still get there in that time, but a little bit more cautious about him than I am Pods or Butler. We got questions about Post. I do think he starts at center. I don't know that we could trust the minutes necessarily. Atlanta with a Kongwu, I mean, you don't need to play big against them. They can play a lot of Draymond at the 5. I'm fine mixing him in, but if he gets more popular, it's not a spot I'm super eager to get to. Dre looks good. I really do like Moody, assuming he starts again. And I know I'm sitting here listing this whole team, Smitty, but I do think with Curry out, there's a lot of love to go around. How are you going to handle the Warriors? And I guess which of these guys are priorities for you?
Yeah, like you said, there's just a ton of usage to go around as well as minutes. Curry's one of the one that actually plays a lot of minutes. So first off is Pods for me. That's who I'm getting the most of. Just expect him to have that lead ball handling role. Just
Mhm.
kind of a nice price range on a 4 game slate. So I like getting there. And then it's Kaminga and Butler as well for me. Butler at the high end, I think, looks best from this team. And then also getting to some Draymond. I have a little bit of Post. And then, like you mentioned, mixing in Gary Payton. I have a little bit of that. I don't mind that at all. And then Moody is popping in the model, and he's one of the lower owned players on this team. So I think he's someone I want to come in under overweight on.
Yeah, I'm with you. You said under, then changed to over. I was a little
Yeah.
happy you did. Because, yeah, Moody I like a lot. Like, the numbers haven't been there for him, but with Curry out, I do think he's going to see some extra usage. But it sounds like we're on the same page as far as the core plays go. It's definitely Pause and probably Butler. What's your take on Kuminga? Are you kind of matching the field on him?
Let's see. What is he?
It's around
29.
30%. Yeah.
Yeah, I have 30%, so I'm pretty much right with the field.
I think that's the way to go. Like, I wish we knew he had no cap because he's a guy who could go off here. But again, with the minutes limit, tough to get too excited about. On the Atlanta side, again, this game does have a really tight spread, high total, checks a lot of boxes. No Clint Capella, Jalen Johnson, obviously. Karis LeVert will be available. No Keaton Wallace, and Trey Young is going to be available as well. Um, Yeah, great game, but not nearly as popular are these Atlanta Hawks. Trey's been playing his best basketball of the season. Take that for whatever it's worth. Decent spot for him here, coming off back-to-back 50 fantasy point games. Better matchups, but he's been really hot lately. 5 of his last 6 games, he's gone over 50 fantasy points. So I do think he's someone who's under-owned. Obviously, we're going to be jamming Giannis. We'll talk about the Lakers and all that, but I do think Trey, one of the better tournament pay-ups tonight. Dyson Daniels getting some love for a bit of a discount. I'm fine getting to him. Price is much more favorable on DK, but you get the extra points for steals. And that's where you really get the ceiling out of Daniels when he's collecting those stocks. So 4 games in a row with 3+ steals, kind of ridiculous. Not many guys in the league can pull that off. And with Curry out too, I mean, a lot of different ball handlers, definitely a good spot for him. Those are the two I'm very much interested in. I do like Okongwu again with Capella out. He does feel safer than usual. And the minutes had been fluctuating, but 3 games in a row where he's floating around 30. Probably a core play for me, if we're being honest, and that is if I can fit him. I'm playing more on FanDuel tonight. He's a bit more expensive there, but the power forward eligibility definitely goes a long way. You can mix in guys like Ricochet. I think with Levert coming back, he's kind of sneaky too in terms of his upside. Probably limited minutes, but he can spike his ceiling. But again, I love Trey, especially as a tournament play. I think Okongwu is kind of the one core play here. There's definitely a lot of guys you can make a case for. Smitty, how are you going to tackle this Atlanta team?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I think Okongwu looks like the best play from here. I think he looks really good. The minutes have been solid. The production's been there as well. And then Dyson on DraftKings, I think, looks pretty solid at that 7K price tag. Even on FanDuel, you get the added points for blocks and steals. I think he's a good play there. And then you mentioned Trey. I do think Trey's a good GPP play in a game with a close spread, pretty high total. No one's really getting there. I think it makes sense to get overweight on Trey. And then, like you mentioned, some of these bench pieces are definitely playable. I think Niang still looks pretty good. 4,200 in power forward eligibility on DraftKings. And then
Mhm.
4K on FanDuel also looks pretty solid. So that's someone I'll be overweight on too.
Yeah, you definitely want to take a few more risks on these shorter slates. Guys like Niang become more appealing because it's tough to get different, and they could definitely spike a ceiling. If he gets hot, no telling what his upside could be. So I'm with you on that. Let's take a quick look over here at chat. If anyone's watching the UFC fights, want to let us know what happens in Holland. Gunner, feel free. He's saying, "What's up, guys? Unicorn teams go small. Javon gets less minutes. That is true. They are playing a pretty big squad, though. But we'll get there in a minute. It sounds like you're going in and out, but could just be me. Guys, let me know. I think my internet's okay. Smitty, yours shows like a lower signal than usual, but I think you're fine. I can hear you fine. Only playing one lineup. Should Giannis be in it? My answer is yes. Smitty, how about you? You getting Giannis if you're
Y-
playing one?
yeah, probably.
Yeah, Landon, we'll get to this game in a minute. Last time we kind of said we like KVG over Rollins. Rollins got the start, which was kind of expected, but Rollins did play better than I think many were thinking. I like Rollins a little bit more today, but that could be recency bias. We'll get to that game in a minute. Um, and then, yeah, Jose, we did just say we like Giannis. And yeah, if you're playing Giannis, it's really tough to fit Luca unless we get more value. So it's kind of one or the other, but we're under the assumption LeBron will be back. But we'll get to that game in just a minute. And Carmen here, shouts out to you as well, my man, saying let's have a night. Next game on the slate, we have the Wizards taking on the Knicks. Pretty widespread here, 223.5 point total. Knicks still without Jalen Brunson. They did just announce that he's going to be out, I think, another game or so. But still, obviously very significant here. We talked about this last time we were on together, Smitty. Miles McBride is once again questionable. I think we have to assume he plays, but if he's out, Campaign would become an excellent value play. He's already drawing some ownership at only 15 minutes, and if he were to get 25 plus, like we're projecting McBride for, I think he'd look really, really good here. But again, that's if McBride is out and Campaign is starting. Cat is really the best play here. Obviously, he's the cover boy today. Shouts out to Boyle, one of the top OF index plays on the slate. He's been excellent. Sees a lot of extra usage with Brunson off the floor. Then you could obviously make a cake. What the hell am I talking about? Make a case for Hart and Nunavie, Bridges. I guess I'm hungry. All these guys on the wing definitely have upside. It's tough to pick night to night. I will say OG's been kind of the most consistent of that group. But Hart, obviously, triple double upside. Bridges, if he gets hot, he's a little bit cheaper. You can make a case for any. There is some concern about the blowout here. I think at the same time, it's such a good matchup. We're also dealing with Dibs, who isn't really resting guys unless they're up by like 30 in the fourth quarter, which is a possibility, but not many blowouts lately. And the Wizards have been playing better than expected. I like Cat, and I do like McBride if he's in. If he's out, I'm going to get a ton of campaigns. Smitty, how you going to handle the Knicks?
Yeah, they look like a pretty good team to get to. I think most of them are pretty good plays as well, the starters are. I think Cat is the priority here for me from the Knicks. He looks really good. And then OG, just kind of mid range, small forward, power forward eligible, which is really nice. And then Josh Hart just has triple double upside, which is pretty crazy. Going against Washington's a really good matchup for him, so I don't mind that. Then I'm getting on DraftKings to a little bit of Mitchell Robinson. I was hoping he'd be a little lower on there than he is, but 13% still don't seem too bad. Backup center, so you're kind of hoping for some extra minutes, but I still don't mind it on a short slate if you're playing large field tournaments.
Yeah, he's been a little bit banged up, but the last two games he's played, over 30 fantasy points in limited minutes. So good call. Not really someone I was looking to as a FanDuel player, but I do think there's merit to using him, especially in a game with blowout potential. All right, moving over to the Washington side of things, no Sadiq Bey, Bilal Koulibaly, Malcolm Brogdon, Corey Kispert. Also, Chris Middleton is going to be out today as well. Wizards a little bit thinner than usual. They've been playing all right kind of since the break, maybe since Kuzma left, who we'll talk about in a little bit when we get to Milwaukee. But yeah, not a ton of ownership going there. The one guy getting love is Vukcevic. His minutes are limited, but he's been so good point per minute that I think you can get to him and feel pretty good about it. We're going to have to keep an eye on the starting lineup. It could be Carrington at the two. It could be AJ Johnson at the two. Who else? It could be Champagne starting, even if one of those guys start. Again, with these guys out, Middleton especially, I do think they're probably going to shake up the starting lineup. One projection I'm looking at, I don't know if I buy it, is Poole, Carrington, George Champagne. I'm thinking they want to bring Carrington off the bench. Maybe we see AJ Johnson slide in there. I have not played him at all, but he has been pretty good when he's been given the minutes. I love Sar. I just wish the minutes for him were more consistent right now. He just hasn't really been showing him in his ceiling, still scoring tremendously in spite of that. So I do think the bigs here are probably what I'm going to get to. Both Sar and Vooch probably would not want both in one lineup. But yeah, they've been crushing, man. I don't like the matchup, but don't mind the prices. Are you getting to any of Washington?
Yeah, it's actually the same for me. It's Sar and Vukovic is who I'm getting to. I think Vukovic, even though he's pulling close to 30% ownership, I still don't think it's enough. Someone I'm going to be over the field on. And if this game does blow out, he benefits. Either way, he's a good play, so I like getting there. Sar is more of a GPP play, but I still like him. He's been playing really well. And then, like you said, whoever they start, I mean, I don't know how they decide, but either Champagne or whichever one starts, I think I'll have a little bit of interest, but no one I really want to jam. I think just GPP plays.
Yeah, again, they have a lot of guys on this team right now. They're running a pretty deep rotation, so it's tough to expect a ton of upside. But I'm with you, man. Definitely like the bigs. A few more comments here. Unicorn saying Monk versus Milwaukee. Milwaukee stinks against guards. That's very true. About to get that game. Champagne from D-Rob. Yeah, I feel better about him if he starts, man, for sure. They've been mixing up the starting lineup. We've even seen Vuk start next to Sar. I don't think that's what we're going to see tonight. Smitty, quick question for you from Jose here. Which studs are you kind of keying in on?
As far as spend ups, I have the most of Giannis and
Mhm.
Cat. And then like the midish range, I like Butler and Giddy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love Catman. Obviously, Dame's out, so it's kind of tough not to get to. And I will say, if LeBron's in on FanDuel at that price, pretty tempting. But yeah, we'll
Yeah.
talk about Monk in a minute, Don. Appreciate that. He's on board with us with Vooch. And yeah, Beantown. We mentioned earlier Gary Payton's in. And probably going to play limited minutes, but he is viable. His value going to be lower owned than those other pieces for Golden State. Let's get into this next game now. Already got a few questions on it. The Bucks taking on the Kings. Milwaukee going to be without Dame Lillard, Bobby Portis. Shame on you for the steroids. He's still unavailable. Gary Trent is probable. Other than that, nothing too significant. Jericho Sims. I mean, nothing we really need to dig too deep on. But yeah, pulling up the Bucks. No surprise. Giannis popping is one of the best plays on the entire slate. About 50% owned on both sites. It is a 4-game slate. I like it. Definitely my favorite pay up. He's going to be in almost everything I have here tonight. Again, just assuming LeBron's back. I don't know. I just think knowing that all that usage is going to funnel to Giannis is enough for me to really want to make him my priority. We've been down on Kuzma all year, but with Dame out, obviously he's going to continue to see increased usage. The minutes are up for him, back to back games over 30. He can hit value here. I do think he's a pretty good play. I can't say I trust him entirely, but he will be in some of my lineups. Rollins, the projected starting point guard here, played tremendously against the Lakers last time out, albeit a Lakers team that had almost everybody resting, but did get over 30 fantasy points in just 29 minutes. I think we were all kind of in agreement that Kevin Porter, even off the bench, was the better fantasy producer. He was not in that game. He is still getting love here. I think you could play both these guys. I definitely feel better about Rollins, though, just knowing he has more secure minutes as the starter. You can make a case for Prince. Gary Trent's coming off a tremendous game. These guys are kind of boomer bust tournament plays. We always like Lopez at low ownership. Again, no Portis definitely boosts his upside. 33 minutes for him is actually higher than he's been playing the past week or so. But if he gets there, I do think he's a solid tournament play, sub 20%. So Smitty, Giannis the priority for me. I do feel good about Rollins, probably better than I should. I'm going to mix in some Kevin Porter. I actually don't mind them in the same lineup. I was going to ask you how you feel about that, but kind of give me your overview on the Bucks here.
Yeah, I'm getting to a ton of bucks. I think this game in general looks like one of the better game environments, and they're short Dame, so I like getting there. Giannis to me is a priority from this team. Getting to a ton of Giannis, and then like you said, Rollins, KPJ. I think they're both good. I have more Rollins currently, like you said, I'm fine playing them together as well. Uh, it's possible like they could close together, and it wouldn't surprise me. So at their prices, I don't mind playing them together. And then Kuzma also looks good. I'm overweight on Kuzma. Pretty much this whole team. Brooke Lopez, overweight there. I think Brooke Lopez is a really good play. 5,300. Uh, I mean, it's tough not to play him. And
Mm-hmm.
then Torian Prince, Gary Trent are two guys that are, Gary Trent's going to come in lowish owned, and he's someone that's pretty streaky. So I don't mind playing him when he's low owned. When he's chalk, I tend to get away from there. And then Prince's minutes will be there. He's under 4K on DraftKings. Someone I'm fine mixing in as well. So really, this whole team I think looks really good.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. They're thin in the front court. We got a question about Prince. I think he's fine for a flyer. Trent, again, coming off a tremendous game, even off the bench. He shot so well against the Lakers. I think you could go back there. Don't know that I'd want both of them in a lineup, but 4 game slate, probably wise not to set too many rules. Excuse me. Over on the Sacramento side of things, let's take a look here. We have only Sabonis and Isaac Jones are out, so a little bit healthier than they have been. Everyone's asking about Monk. Yes, the Bucks are terrible against guards. A lot of that's because of Dame, though, if we're being honest. And with Dame out, I mean, Porter actually plays better defense than Dame. Not that this is going to matter. I still think I want to get to Bucks guards. Don't get me wrong. DeRozan rating slightly better in the model, though, and he is lower owned on DK. These are my two preferred plays. Once in a while, we'll see Levine outscore them. It's been rare that this has been the case, so I'm definitely more comfortable getting to Monk and DeRozan. Don't mind Keegan Murray as kind of a fill-in. Joval has been tricky. Against big teams, we thought he played more minutes, but even with Sabonis out, we haven't seen him get over 24 as a Sacramento King over the past 2 weeks. Trey Lyles has been the guy to benefit. 37 fantasy points against Chicago in 24 minutes. Game before that, against a good front court defense in Cleveland, 30 minutes, 31 fantasy points. Trey's getting no love on DK. I think he's a pretty sneaky tournament play, especially if you're not getting to Joval. I think logically speaking, you would think Joval would be on the floor more here, but at the same time, it is tough for him to get out and cover Lopez from the arc or deal with Giannis. It's a tricky spot. So I think he's fine as a tournament play. I do like Monk and DeRozan, but I'm probably going to get to some Trey Lyles, and even on FanDuel at 0% owned. Kind of sneaky as a pivot off some of the chalkier plays there. Smitty, how are you going to handle Sacramento?
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. My two highest exposed plays from here are Trey Lyles and Malik Monk. I like
Nice.
both of them. They're going to be in a lot of my lineups. I like them, and then someone that I don't mind taking like a GPP shot on is Jake LaRavia on DraftKings, where he's 3,400. Seems like a pretty solid GPP play to mix in. And then other than that, like you said, DeRozan on FanDuel looks really good. And then not really getting to Levine, but he's
Mm,
someone I wouldn't care to mix in on FanDuel, but DraftKings he's just way overpriced. And even
yeah.
DeRozan's price tag on DraftKings makes it kind of tough to get there, but I'll still have a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it is a good game environment. These teams both play pretty quick, and yeah, I do think the prices are a bit inflated even with Sabonis out, but they've been playing well. Again, I think Lyles is kind of the sneaky play of the night, so guys keep that in mind. Probably don't want your whole night depending on him, but if you're looking for lower owned value, he's probably not going to start. Going to come off the bench. That should keep his ownership down, and he's going to be better running up and down the floor than Jovel might be. So I'm kind of off Jovel until we see him play 30 minutes in a game. Don't mind going to some Lyles though, as long as Sabonis is out. Quick look at the chat here, just catching up. Oh, here we go. Shouts out to the Gale. It's Prince's birthday for the narrative guys. Yeah, man. Sometimes you gotta love that stuff. It doesn't always work out, but maybe he takes a few extra shots. 0% Kuzma, which means he'll go off. Okay, you all heard it here first. Power's not paying him. Might be the first game Kuzma actually shows a ceiling. Did you say campaign or Champagne? So campaign if McBride is out. Champagne if he starts. That's kind of where we're at on those two, right? But very different plays, in my opinion. One more game, guys. Feel free to get questions in. And Carmen giving me a hard time here saying that's the cake, indeed. 10:30. This one's interesting. On the bull side, no Lonzo, no AO. Herder's back and available. That's it. So they're pretty healthy. Giddy is back in. I don't think we're going to see his minutes limited. We have him for 33. As long as he starts, probably my favorite play here. I do think White is a bit overpriced now with Giddy back in the lineup. At the same time, he's still spiked the ceiling from time to time. Wouldn't talk you off him, but I think he's a little bit overowned where he's priced. Don't mind Herder, but kind of feel the same way. Like with Giddy back in the lineup, I don't mind him as like a fill-in piece, but I don't know. I just don't feel as good about it knowing Giddy really absorbs so much usage. Vooch is okay. He really went off last game. I don't think either of us were super bullish on him. I mean, he could get there here. At the same time, Jackson Hayes has been playing really good defense. But yeah, Vooch coming off a 50 fantasy point game. Nobody's playing him. I think in tournaments you can mix him in on a small slate. Smitty, Chicago kind of tricky with Giddy back, kind of taking up a lot from these other guys. I think they're a bit overpriced because Giddy's been out for a couple weeks. But how are you going to handle the Bulls?
Yeah, for me, they're kind of hard to get to, like you said, but Giddy to me is a priority from this team, assuming we don't hear any type of minutes limit. Really good positional eligibility too, which makes him even better. And then Patrick Williams is someone I don't mind mixing in for value. Power forward eligibility 3,300. I mean, he's been okay, so I don't mind getting there. But other than that, it's pretty tough to get to this team. I have Kobe White with like a decent projection. I'm still not really getting there. So I think it's just he's overpriced.
Mhm. Yeah, Giddy's been back, but kind of working back into his regular role. He played 30 minutes against Phoenix, 27 the game before that, and he's already crushing. So I'm with you. I think Giddy is the priority here if you could find the salary for him. One of my favorite guard plays for sure. Speaking of great guard plays, we are on to the Lakers. Luca, not drawing much ownership at all tonight, likely because Giannis is getting so much love, but he does rate top of the model in OF Index, even ahead of Giannis with Dame out. So I think that's notable. We also have LeBron in the model. I do think he is going to be good to go here, which is interesting because Lucas still, it's just such a good matchup. He should absolutely crush, but he does sit the whole fourth quarter if this team blows teams out. We saw it against Denver, played 32 minutes, really didn't get in there in the fourth, which you kind of needed him to at that price. I like Luca. I'm fine with him. I would prefer LeBron to be out to get there. Reeves is probably a no for me if both these guys are in. The Laker I'm most interested in is Jackson Hayes. I just think he's underpriced. He's been really good. He's better with Luca because they run that pick and roll so well. I think this is a good matchup for him as well against Vooch. We get him at 5K. We only have him projected for 24 minutes, but kind of looking at the game logs, any game that's close, he's been playing up to 27. So I think there's a little bit of upside even on his projection where we have him. I like Hayes maybe more than I should, man. Fine getting to Luca. I think LeBron's fine if he's in. I don't think they're going to put him out there unless he could play his full minutes. How are you going to handle LA?
Yeah, I think Hayes is my favorite Laker. We like targeting the Bulls with big men, so I don't mind doing that. Other than that, it's really hard to get to this team. Like LeBron and Luca both look really good. This is a really good matchup, but they're also priced like Luca's priced for LeBron being out, and LeBron's 10-5 on DraftKings makes it kind of hard to get there. But on FanDuel, I think LeBron looks really good. I'm gonna try and get to some Luca and LeBron just so I have some exposure, but it's tough to get there with Giannis on the slate with no Dame.
Yep, totally agree. I also do just want to mention Rui's back tonight. He could cut into the upside for some of these other bench guys. But yeah, I don't think it matters too much. But yeah, really, really appealing game here. It's just LeBron is such a pivotal piece of news. We're going to kind of have to wait and see. What do we got going here in chat? Good question from Jose. We mentioned it. I think the priorities for Golden State are Pods and Butler for me. Probably Kuminga third, but he's like a second tier. I do like Moody a lot as well. But Smitty, who are your priorities for Golden State?
Yeah, same here. Pods, Butler, and then Kaminga.
With it. Power giddy will make you giddy when you read that cash at the end of the night for sure. Robinson just posted my time to shine now on his Instagram. Perhaps he's starting. That's interesting. I mean, it would probably mean Cat would be out, in which case he would very quickly become one of the best value plays on the slate. Wait, is he starting next to Cat? What's going on here? I feel like we missed some news. Um, let's check it out. I don't think it's out yet. But if he is starting, then yeah, guys. If anyone has this news, I'm refreshing my feed. Maybe
That'd
it
be
just hasn't
crazy.
caught up. But I
That would
haven't
mean
seen it.
Deuce is probably out,
Ooh.
and
Yeah,
then
do you think they go
Robinson
two
starting at the
bigs?
four. It'd be
Yeah.
weird. Or Robinson would start at the five, but it don't really matter.
Yeah. Well, keep an eye on that one, guys. Holland with the decision. Kind of thought that fight would finish inside. Appreciate that, Jason. I'll have to watch that one back. Two center slate or one for single entry. Four gamer. I don't know that. We're about to do the dummy build, but again, there's only a few centers I like tonight. If Robinson starts, it might be two. Otherwise, I think you're okay with one. Smitty, how do you feel about this question?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if Robinson starts, I think centers look a lot better. I personally like quite a few centers on this slate, so I'd probably have to.
Nice. I hear you. Speaking of centers, any love for Quentin Post?
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he's okay. The minutes are all over the place with him, so there's some risk, Carmen, but the upside's there for sure. Shouts out Heath, helping us with the UFC results again. Holland win the decision. Nice bounce back for him. He'd been on a skid. What's a good pivot off of Kuzma at that same price? So let's take a look here. Yeah, 5,400, same exact price. If you got 200 for McBride and he's in, he's probably one. If Champagne starts, he's in. He's an okay one. Jackson Hayes as well, Jose. So yeah, you got to move things around in terms of position, but you do have a few pivots. Moses Moody, I'd throw in that group too. All right,
Yeah.
Smitty, I'm on double duty today, so I wouldn't mind getting a few minutes back. Let's go ahead and do the dummy build. Let's start with Rollins and Giannis, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and then probably throw in Pods and uh, t-
Jimmy,
t- t- yeah, Jimmy.
I'm with it. We got to find some value.
I
I
really
don't
like
like. Go ahead.
Vukovic.
Yeah, I mean, at that price, I don't see how you don't. I'm with it. All right, that helps us a bit. Guard forward utility. We got flexibility now. I mean, we could go to another Golden Kaminga, Moody.
Yeah, yeah, I'm cool with either one. Little Trey Lyles.
Ooh, let's go with both. Let's go with Kaminga and Trey Lyles and see what that leaves us. Actually, we're gonna be stuck with a guard, but that's okay.
Yeah.
6,400. Come on, no whammy. Bridges. It's not terrible. Maybe move some things around. We could also pull Kaminga first. Go to Moody. They're asking if we could get Monk. Let's see what that looks like.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's pricey. We go Monk, we go Lyles, and then we can go Mitchell Robinson. I think we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think
a
he's really
it's around
cheap.
that price, right? 31. I mean, boom. This is pretty. You could upgrade one spot if you want as well. And yeah, OG's a good play as well, Don. Appreciate it. Unicorn saying Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy. Can we get the Hawk Center? I mean, in this build, you'd probably have to come off Monk to make that work. You can move Vooch to utility. If Robinson starts, he is going to be really good value, though. But yeah, a lot of ways to go for a four game slate. Yeah, Power. I used to watch Game Show Network back in the day. It's been a while. I don't know why that came out of my subconscious there, but I do appreciate it. But yeah, guys, as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Any last second questions, get them in right now. Otherwise, I am going to be live in Discord in about 15 minutes, talking you guys up until lock. Keeping an eye on lineups. I'll give my final core plays and any adjustments we have to be making. I'm thinking we'll probably have, hopefully, the Knicks starting lineup by then. Certainly, we'll have the starting lineup for Golden State and Atlanta, so we could talk through that. But yeah, we'll just give another rundown of the slate. Any last thoughts, Smitty, before we kind of wrap it up for today? We made crazy good time, but with 4 games, there's only so much we can really dig into.
Yeah. No, I think we're good. I was just double checking to see if I could find anything for Mitchell Robinson, but I didn't see anything.
Yeah, question here. If it's aligned with Rob is starting Precious live. If Robinson's starting, I don't have a ton of interest in Precious. He just hasn't been playing much at all. Any interest in Precious, Smitty?
Probably not. He would get the backup 5 run, which is helpful, but still just hard to get there.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Cool, cool, cool. McBride or Herter? If he's in
Oh
McBride,
gosh,
but
yeah, probably McBride.
if he's in, if he's out,
Yeah.
it's easy. Don, thank you for joining. I think that's it, everyone. Once again, Nick here with Smitty. Check the links in the description below. Like, subscribe, and I will be live in Discord in 15 minutes talking to you guys up until lock. Let's crush it tonight. Good luck, and see you at the top.